The misunderstanding. The cargo ship Resilience drifted through the void between star systems, its hull gleaming under the distant light of a binary star. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, watching the endless expanse of space through the viewport. Her crew was unique in the galactic fleet, a perfect mix of humans and aliens working together in harmony. At least, that's what she thought until April 1st arrived. The ship hummed with activity as the morning shift began. In the engineering bay, Zixtal carefully calibrated the fusion reactors. The Vorthex's crystalline body sparkled under the harsh work lights, each facet of his diamond-like skin reflecting the console displays. Zixtal had served on human ships for 3 years now, but he still found their customs puzzling. Humans seemed to celebrate the strangest things. Down in the cargo hold, Marcus Rodriguez checked the security systems. The former Marine had adapted well to space life, though he missed the weight of real gravity. His massive frame moved with surprising grace as he inspected each storage container. Marcus was known for his serious demeanor, but today felt different. Something mischievous sparkled in his dark eyes. Dr. Cathera scuttled through the medical bay on her 6 legs, organizing supplies with mechanical precision. The Zelani's compound eyes caught every detail, her antennae twitching as she sorted medications. Her people valued order above all else, and the human tendency toward chaos had always concerned her. Today, that concern would prove justified. Captain Chen entered the mess hall for breakfast, unaware that her human crew members had been planning for weeks. April Fool's Day was a sacred tradition among humans, and being stuck in space wouldn't stop them from celebrating. The aliens, however, had no idea what was coming. The first prank was simple. When Zixtal arrived at his workstation, he found all his tools rearranged. Not damaged or stolen, just moved around. His crystalline features darkened with confusion. In Vorthek culture, touching another's tools without permission was considered a grave insult. Someone had violated his workspace during the night cycle. Marcus grinned as he watched the engineer's reaction through the security cameras. He'd spent an hour carefully moving each tool exactly 6 inches to the left. Harmless fun, he thought. Just wait until Zixtal discovered the fake malfunction reports. The second wave of confusion hit the medical bay. Dr. Cathera discovered that someone had replaced all her antiseptic solutions with colored water. The bottles looked identical, but the contents were clearly wrong. Her antennae vibrated with alarm. This wasn't just a mistake. This was systematic tampering with medical supplies. In wartime, such actions would be considered biological warfare. As the day progressed, more pranks unfolded. The artificial gravity in the recreation room had been adjusted to create a bouncing effect. The food synthesizers were programmed to add extra spice to everything. Someone had even changed the ship's wake-up alarm to play ancient Earth music at maximum volume. The human crew members laughed and high-fived each other as they watched their alien colleagues' reactions. They had no idea they were being interpreted as acts of aggression and sabotage. Zixtal stormed into the bridge, his crystalline body radiating heat from emotional distress. "Captain Chen," he said, his voice resonating like struck glass, "we have a serious security breach. Someone has been sabotaging our systems." Sarah looked up from her reports, surprised by the engineer's agitation. What kind of sabotage? Tools moved, false reports filed, equipment tampered with, Zixtal listed, his internal light pulsing with each word. "This is coordinated. Someone wants to disable this ship." Before Sarah could respond, Dr. Cathera burst onto the bridge, her compound eyes wide with panic. "Captain, we have a biological warfare situation. Someone has contaminated the medical supplies. I've sealed the bay and run diagnostics, but we may already be compromised." Sarah's blood ran cold. Sabotage and biological warfare. On her ship. "Are you certain?" "The evidence is clear." Cathera clicked, her mandibles chattering with stress. "All antiseptic solutions have been replaced with unknown substances. The contamination pattern suggests deliberate action." The captain's mind raced. Who could be behind this? Her crew had been together for months without incident. Then she remembered the date, April 1st. Her heart sank as the pieces fell into place. Meanwhile, in the lower decks, more aliens were discovering the pranks. The Sectani communications officer found his translator speaking in ancient Earth slang. The Thrakeri pilot discovered his flight controls had been reprogrammed to play musical notes with each input. The Gorvani botanist found all his plants had been moved to spell out April Fools in the hydroponics bay. Each discovery was reported to the alien crew members as evidence of human betrayal. The Sectani believed the communication tampering was meant to prevent them from calling for help. The Thrakeri saw the flight control changes as an attempt to crash the ship. The Gorvani thought the plant arrangement was a coded message to human accomplices. Word spread quickly through the ship's alien population. The humans had turned against them. The pranks weren't jokes. They were acts of war. Zixtal gathered the alien crew in the cargo hold. His crystalline form towered over the others as he addressed them in the universal translator. Friends, we face a crisis. The humans have shown their true nature. They seek to disable our ship and eliminate us. Dr. Cathera nodded vigorously. The medical tampering confirms it. They want us weak and helpless. The Sectani officer's scales rippled with fear. They've compromised our communications. We cannot call for help. The Thrakeri pilot's feathers bristled with anger. They've sabotaged our flight systems. We're trapped. One by one, the alien crew members shared their discoveries. Each prank was reinterpreted as evidence of human treachery. The pattern seemed clear. The humans had planned this carefully, striking multiple systems simultaneously. What do we do? Asked the Gorvani botanist, his tentacles writhing with anxiety. Zixtal's internal light pulsed with determination. We defend ourselves. The humans have declared war on us. We must act before they complete their plan. The aliens began to organize. They knew the ship's layout better than the humans realized. They controlled life support, navigation, and communications. If the humans wanted a fight, they would get one. On the bridge, Captain Chen tried to process what was happening. Her crew was falling apart over what should have been harmless fun. She needed to find Marcus and the other humans, explain the situation, and stop this madness before it escalated. But it was already too late. The ship's internal sensors detected movement in the cargo hold. A large group was gathering, and they weren't human. Captain, came Zixtal's voice over the intercom, distorted by emotion. We know what you've done. Surrender now, and we may show mercy. Sarah's hands trembled as she activated the ship-wide communication system. Zixtal, I don't know what you think is happening, but silence. The Vorthex's voice cracked like breaking crystal. Your sabotage ends now. We have secured the ship's critical systems. You and your conspirators will answer for your crimes. Emergency lights began flashing throughout the ship. The aliens had taken control of the main systems. Sarah could hear running footsteps in the corridors as her human crew members tried to understand what was happening. Marcus burst onto the bridge, his face pale with confusion. Captain, what's going on? The aliens have sealed off entire sections of the ship. They're treating us like prisoners. Marcus, Sarah said grimly, I think your April Fool's pranks have been misinterpreted as acts of war. The security officer's eyes widened as understanding dawned. Oh no, they think we're trying to take over the ship. Or destroy it, Sarah added. They've mentioned sabotage and biological warfare. Through the viewport, they could see other human crew members being herded into the mess hall by groups of armed aliens. Zixtal's crystalline form led the procession, his body glowing with contained fury. Captain, Marcus said quietly, we need to fix this before someone gets hurt. Sarah nodded, but she wasn't sure how. The aliens had every reason to believe the humans had betrayed them. The evidence of the pranks looked exactly like sabotage to beings who didn't understand human humor. The ship's intercom crackled to life again. All humans report to the mess hall immediately, Zixtal commanded. Resistance will be met with force. As they walked toward the mess hall, Sarah could see the fear in her crew's eyes. What had started as innocent fun had become a nightmare. The aliens they had worked beside for months now saw them as enemies. When they reached the mess hall, Sarah counted her crew. All 12 humans were there, surrounded by 26 aliens. The odds were not in their favor. Zixtal stood at the front of the room, his crystalline body casting rainbow patterns on the walls. Behind him, Dr. Cathera clicked her mandibles menacingly. The other aliens formed a semicircle, weapons drawn. Humans, Zixtal began, his voice echoing in the confined space. You have betrayed the trust we placed in you. Your coordinated attack on our ship's systems will not succeed. Captain Chen stepped forward, her hands raised in a gesture of peace. Zixtal, there's been a terrible misunderstanding. We haven't attacked anything. Lies, hissed Dr. Cathera. We have evidence of your biological warfare program. The tension in the room was suffocating. Humans and aliens faced each other across a divide of fear and misunderstanding. One wrong move could trigger a battle that would leave the ship dead in space. Sarah knew she had only one chance to save her crew and prevent a tragedy. She had to make the aliens understand that human nature wasn't what they thought it was. But how do you explain humor to beings who have never experienced it? The standoff continued, with weapons trained on both sides. The Resilience drifted through space, its crew divided by a cultural gap that seemed impossible to bridge. Time was running out. The resolution. The mess hall had become a powder keg, with aliens and humans facing each other in a deadly standoff. Captain Sarah Chen could feel the weight of every eye in the room as she stood between two groups who had once been friends. The air itself seemed to vibrate with tension. Please, Sarah said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Let me explain what really happened today. Zixtal's crystalline form pulsed with angry light. There is nothing to explain, Captain. The evidence speaks for itself. Your people have systematically attacked our ship. No, Sarah shook her head firmly. What you discovered today wasn't sabotage. It was something else entirely, something humans call April Fool's Day. Dr. Cathera's antennae twitched with suspicion. What is this April Fool's Day? Some kind of human battle strategy. Marcus stepped forward slowly, his hands visible and empty. It's the opposite of a battle strategy. It's about laughter and friendship. The alien crew exchanged confused glances. The Sectani officer's scales rippled with uncertainty. Laughter is not achieved through deception and sabotage. But it is, said Jenny Walsh, the human communication specialist. Her voice was soft but clear. We play harmless tricks on people we care about. It's how we show affection. The Thrakeri pilot's feathers bristled. Affection through sabotage makes no sense. You disabled my flight controls. I added musical notes, Marcus said sheepishly. It was supposed to make you smile when you heard your favorite Earth song. You compromised ship safety for music. The pilot's voice rose an octave. Captain Chen raised her hand for silence. She could see this explanation wasn't working. The aliens couldn't understand how humans could show love through trickery. They needed a different approach. Zixtal, she said, addressing the Vorthak directly. In your culture, how do you show someone you care about them? The crystalline being's internal light dimmed slightly. We sing to them. Our bodies resonate in harmony with those we cherish. It is called crystal singing. And Dr. Cathera, Sarah continued, how do the Zilani express affection? The insectoid medic's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. We perform the hive harmony. We work together on a task that serves no purpose except to demonstrate our unity. Sarah nodded, beginning to see a path forward. Both of your traditions involve bringing joy to others through special actions. April Fool's Day is the same concept, just expressed differently. But your pranks cause distress, not joy, protested the Gorvani botanist. Because we didn't understand each other, admitted Marcus. I thought moving your plants into a message would make you laugh. I didn't know it would seem threatening. Engineer Thompson, a quiet human who rarely spoke up, cleared his throat. When I changed the gravity in the rec room, I was trying to recreate the feeling of floating in water. My grandfather told me stories about swimming on Earth. I wanted to share that feeling of weightlessness and freedom. The room fell silent as the humans began explaining their individual pranks. Each one had been motivated by a desire to share something special, to create a moment of surprise and delight. But without cultural context, they had become acts of apparent aggression. Dr. Kathera lowered her weapon slightly. You truly meant no harm. None at all, Sarah confirmed. In fact, the best April Fool's pranks are the ones that make everyone laugh together afterward. Zixtal's crystalline body had stopped pulsing with angry light, but he still seemed unconvinced. This tradition of yours seems unnecessarily risky. What if someone had been injured? That's why we have rules, explained Marcus. No pranks that could cause real harm. No permanent damage. Nothing that can't be easily fixed or undone. To demonstrate, Marcus walked over to a nearby wall panel. With a few quick inputs, he restored the mess hall's artificial gravity to normal settings. Then he accessed the medical base systems and showed how the colored water could be drained and replaced with actual antiseptic in minutes. Everything we did today can be reversed, he said. That's the whole point. The surprise is temporary, but the laughter and memories last forever. The Sectani officer tentatively lowered his energy weapon. Your communication modifications, they were not permanent. Just a subroutine I added to the translator, confirmed Jenny. I can remove it right now if you want. As the humans demonstrated how easily their pranks could be undone, the aliens' suspicion began to transform into curiosity. They had never encountered a tradition based on temporary deception for the sake of joy. This is very strange, admitted the Thrakari pilot. My people express happiness through displays of aerial grace we would never dream of, confusing someone for entertainment. Different species, different ways of connecting, Sarah said gently. But the goal is the same, bringing happiness to those we care about. Zixtal's crystalline form had dimmed to a thoughtful glow. Your intentions were positive. Completely, Marcus assured him. Zixtal, I moved your tools because I wanted to give you a moment of surprise. In human culture, being chosen for a prank means you're considered part of the family. The Vorthek engineer processed this information slowly. His people were logical beings who valued precision and order. The idea of deliberately creating disorder as a gesture of affection was alien to him, but he was beginning to understand the emotional reasoning behind it. Dr. Kathera had been listening intently, her compound eyes reflecting the room's lights. Perhaps, she said carefully, we could demonstrate our own traditions, so you understand how we express care for our shipmates. Sarah's face lit up with hope. That's a wonderful idea. Zixtal stepped into the center of the room. His crystalline body began to emit a low, harmonic tone that seemed to come from deep within his mineral structure. The sound was hauntingly beautiful, like wind chimes mixed with a church organ. As the melody developed, other crystals throughout the ship began to resonate in harmony. The humans stood transfixed as the Vorthek's crystal singing filled the air with cascading notes. The music seemed to vibrate through their bones, creating a sense of peace and belonging they had never experienced before. When the song ended, Dr. Kathera stepped forward. Now we will show you hive harmony, she announced. The other Zilani crew members joined her, along with several aliens from different species. Working with perfect coordination, they began rearranging the mess hall furniture. But instead of creating something functional, they built an intricate spiral pattern that served no purpose except beauty. Each being knew exactly where to place each piece, as if they were connected by invisible threads. The humans watched in wonder as the aliens created art through pure cooperation. When they finished, the furniture formed a stunning mandala that seemed to pulse with life. This is how we show love, Dr. Kathera explained. By working together toward a common goal that exists only to demonstrate our unity. The tension in the room had completely dissolved. Humans and aliens looked at each other with new understanding. They had different ways of expressing care, but the underlying emotion was universal. Captain Chen felt tears forming in her eyes. What if we combined our traditions, created something new that incorporates all our cultures? The suggestion sparked immediate interest. Marcus proposed that next year they could celebrate Galactic Fool's Day, a holiday that would include pranks, crystal singing, hive harmony, and traditions from every species aboard the ship. As they began planning this new celebration, the ship's proximity alarms suddenly activated. Red lights flashed throughout the mess hall as the automated systems detected an obstacle ahead. "Asteroid field," announced the computer's voice. "Impact in 12 minutes." The crisis snapped everyone back to reality. They needed to work together to navigate the dangerous debris field, but the ship's systems were still affected by the morning's pranks. "I can handle navigation," said the Thrakari pilot, "but the musical subroutines are interfering with my controls." "I'll fix that," Jenny promised, rushing to a terminal. "We need full power to the engines," Zixtal declared, "but some systems are still running April Fool's protocols." Marcus and the other humans worked frantically to undo their pranks, while the aliens took their positions at key stations. The clock was ticking as asteroids grew larger on the view screen. But something beautiful happened as they worked together. The crisis had given them a common purpose, and their different perspectives became strengths rather than obstacles. The humans' creative problem-solving, combined with the aliens' systematic approaches to create solutions none of them could have found alone. Zixtal's crystalline form resonated with harmonic frequencies that helped calibrate the engines to perfect efficiency. Dr. Kethera's medical expertise proved invaluable in monitoring crew stress levels during high maneuvers. The Sectani officer's communication skills coordinated the entire effort flawlessly. As the Resilience threaded through the asteroid field, every crew member contributed their unique abilities. The ship danced between massive rocks with grace that would have been impossible without perfect cooperation. When they finally cleared the field, the entire crew erupted in cheers. Humans and aliens embraced each other, their earlier conflict forgotten in the joy of shared accomplishment. "You know," Zixtal said thoughtfully, his crystalline body glowing with satisfaction, "I think I understand April Fool's Day now. The surprise and confusion are temporary, but they bring us closer together." Dr. Kethera clicked her mandibles in agreement. "Like hive harmony, it requires trust. You must believe that the other person's intentions are good." Captain Chen smiled as she watched her crew celebrating together. The day had started with suspicion and fear, but it was ending with deeper friendships and understanding. "Next year," she announced, "we'll make sure everyone knows about Galactic Fool's Day in advance. No more surprises that could be misinterpreted as sabotage." Marcus grinned. "But we're still doing pranks, right?" "Absolutely." Sarah laughed. "But we'll teach everyone how they work first. And maybe the aliens can teach us some of their traditions too." As the Resilience resumed its journey through space, the crew began planning their new holiday. They would combine the best elements of each culture: human humor, Vorthak music, Zelani cooperation, and traditions from every species aboard. The ship that had nearly torn itself apart through misunderstanding was now stronger than ever. They had learned that differences in expression didn't mean differences in heart. Whether through pranks, songs, or cooperative art, every species aboard shared the same fundamental desire to connect with those they cared about. From that day forward, the crew of the Resilience became legendary throughout the galaxy, not for their cargo runs or technical achievements, but for proving that understanding and laughter could bridge any cultural divide. And every April 1st, ships throughout human space would celebrate Galactic Fool's Day, remembering the crew that turned a near disaster into a celebration of unity across the stars.